It's time for the Alien Conspiracy Podcast. We are your hosts, Agent ETA,
Agent Kruger,
and Agent Anderson. Come along as we examine UFO sightings, conspiracies, and all things strange. You can follow the show on Twitter at AlienConPod. We also have an email address, alienconpod@protonmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to check us out on Facebook and Discord. This week's episode, Scary Movies and the True Stories They're Based Upon. I might rework that title. It's a little bit wordy, a little on the wordy side.
Yeah, whatever.
Yeah.
As long as I get the point. You know, we're not trying to come up with a slogan or something. You know?
Over 10 million movies served. What? I don't know. All right.
What?
So this week, we're talking about horror movies that are based on true stories, and we've each chosen a movie or two to talk about, and we will be talking about them. I think, without further ado, I think Agent ETA, would you like to go first, since I only got one movie, so it makes sense if you go first, then Agent Kruger and I go, and then you go to end it up with.
Yeah, we'll switch off. Maybe I'll I have like 3 movies, I guess, I want to mention, talk about a little bit, and maybe I can, sprinkle my my movies in between you guys or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know, that sounds a little more sexual than I thought it would, but now that I said it, I'm okay with it, So the first movie I want to talk about is, so I'll just put this disclaimer out there. It's not a direct inspiration. I think it is, but it has never been confirmed. It's Stephen King's It. And the character in general is Pennywise. And so this character, I think, was inspired by John Wayne Gacy. And the main reason why I think this is because Stephen King was supposed to have conceived his story for his book It in 1978. And he began writing it in 1981. So John Wayne Gacy was arrested in December of 1978, and then he was sentenced in 1980, March of 1980. So the timelines, they line up pretty damn close. You know what I mean? It's right there. So I think it's completely reasonable to assume that there's some inspiration there. You know what I mean?
Yep.
John Wayne Gacy is probably one of the most famous, if not the most famous, serial killers in the United States history. I mean, the guy did some pretty atrocious stuff, to say the least. He was a serial killer. He was, a sex offender, I guess you could say. But the main reason why he would be an influence for the character Pennywise would be because he was actually a clown himself, and the name of his clown character was Pogo the Clown. And later on, actually, he's actually he became known for painting pictures of clowns and stuff while he was incarcerated. But that's rather here nor there. Anyways, he was Pogo the Clown or Patches the Clown. It was one of his 2 personas. And so he would go around and, play a clown at different events, at birthday parties or, stuff like that. And his main thing that he did when he was luring victims and stuff to his home is he basically would trick them into thinking that he's going to do a magic trick for them, right? Oh, I'm going to do a magic trick for you, buddy. Let me put these handcuffs on you behind your back, even. And then he would proceed to rape the shit out of them and then torture them. And usually from what I understand, the main method of him killing was either by asphyxiation or strangulation. And that's got to be a pretty damn horrible way to go. Yeah. But most of his victims were either young boys or younger men, and he was a very prolific character as far as serial killers go. He's one of the big ones. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to go too far into everything that he did. I'm sure there's a lot of people out there that are pretty damn familiar with who Gacy is. I mean, I don't know how you must at least know his name. He's, like I said, he's up there, one of the most famous serial killers in United States history. You know.
Yep.
Very much so. Yeah, true definition of a monster.
I wonder if Pogo was a reference to some appendage, perhaps. Does that seem like a little sexual in nature? Maybe. Pogo.
I'm sure it's possible.
Bend over and let me handcuff you, and I'll show you my pogo stick. Right?
Yeah. So yeah, center. Well, I wonder how high you could bounce. Anyways, I'll stop right there.
Let's not go down that road.
Thought, before. Yeah. How dare you? So he was convicted of 33 murders.
Damn.
And yeah. And who knows how much more there might be more. That's for sure. I don't think that he admitted to all of them, and who knows, he might have forgotten a couple. You know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, I forgot about that one, But he was killed by lethal injection at the Stateville Correctional Center on May 10th, 1944. Which, probably, in my opinion, I don't know. It's probably much more of a peaceful way than he deserves.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? With when you have somebody who has inflicted that much pain and suffering on others, like who knows the kind of hopelessness somebody's mind's going to be going through in those moments when you realize you've been duped. And not only have you been duped, but this guy means nothing but malicious intent,
That'd be a horrible way to go.
I mean, it's got to be freaking horrible, man. It's so I don't know. Maybe I'm a little bit more, I believe in eye for an eye type of a deal.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we could have, I don't know. I wish that could be a thing and still be, righteous, I guess, like the real, definition of righteous. Like, I don't know. It's just, but how do you really, I don't know. Who decides that kind of thing though? You know what I mean?
Yeah. Well, that's the problem.
If you kill somebody, you should be killed. I know we have death.
I like the idea of reform to an extent, and eye for an eye, it doesn't work for everything, but some things like what this guy did are just so heinous that he crossed a line that he should no longer be a part of society. It's a tough decision, as far as we don't like to get too political on here, but as far as like the death penalty goes, the only reason I would be against it is because there have been people throughout the years wrongfully convicted. So, you got people being executed who didn't actually commit that crime, which is it's a very, very sticky topic that, we probably don't really have time to get into, because that's a topic that deserves the whole podcast in and of itself, probably not what, a couple of people, idiots like us just saying, oh yeah, kill them all, because it's a pretty heavy decision, Yeah.
Yeah. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
Did you say 1944 or 1984? For what?
When he was executed.
Damn it. Now I got a 1994.
1994. Okay.
There.
For some reason, it sounded like you said 1944. I was like, wait, hold on. I'm a little confused.
I hope I didn't. It's possible that I did. I do say stupid things like that sometimes, but no, it was 94. But he was killed by lethal injection at the Stateville Correctional Center on May 10th, 1944. 1944.
Okay. Well, if you did, I will edit it out and then re-put it in a loop so you can hear you saying 44, 44, 44, 44.
No, what you should do, oh yeah, that would be pretty funny. But superimpose your voice like over mine, and like instead of me saying 1944, I'll be like 19, and then you'll be like 94.
That'd be hilarious.
It's like crude clip out, and then you're just your voice dubbing his.
Yeah.
84. I'm just trying to match it.
Yeah, that'd be great, actually. Oh, you know what?
Sounds like a serial killer's like letter, really, if you think about it. Like how they're all like different letters cut out from different pieces of the paper or whatnot.
Oh yeah,
voices.
Yeah, like the ransom letters and stuff.
Yeah.
I do want to, before it just popped into my mind, but before it goes off into the wild blue yonder of Agent ETA's dome piece, I want to mention, just a mention to an episode we've already done. with Travis Walton. Well, about Travis Walton.
All right.
And the movie Fire in the Sky that was made in 1993. Because I don't know why, but 1994, 1993, I was like, I don't know. For some reason, it reminded me of it.
I'm going to fact check you right now.
That movie is awesome. I think I could be wrong.
Oh shit, 1993. Damn.
Hot damn, I'm good. Look at that. I remember some stuff from that episode. No, but like that movie is freaking awesome. Like that movie really it influenced me in my interest in aliens. As when I was a little bit younger there, and I don't know. I want to make sure we give it a mention because I don't think we talked about this in the lead up to this. Talking back and forth, making sure we didn't do the same concentrate on the same movies and stuff.
Mm-hmm. That movie was like a horror movie.
So yeah. Freaking that was one of the movies I wanted to mention there. The second one that I want to talk about is The Dentist. Are you guys familiar with this movie?
No, I am not.
Okay. I don't think it was a popular movie when it came out.
Oh, wait.
I think it kind of flew under the radar.
Hold on just a second.
What?
Before you get into that, while we're on the topic of serial killers, I don't think I posted this. Did I post it? Oh, yeah. I posted it in the channel Strange News, but if you go to Discord and you go into the Strange News channel, I posted an article. There's a group of amateur detectives that think that they'd solved the case of the Zodiac killer. They think that
no shit.
Yeah, they think they figured it out. I read the article. I didn't spend a whole lot of time looking into it, but it looks a little on the flimsy side, but it's still pretty cool that somebody's at least still working on that stuff. So I just wanted to throw that out there real quick. I didn't want to spend too much time on it. So sorry for interrupting. Go ahead and continue on your Dentist.
That's a very prolific case.
Yeah, that's a big one.
So the movie The Dentist, yeah, hell yeah. I mean, and it's unsolved still, right? So I mean, that's I don't know. It could be the biggest cold case in the country. I don't know. I mean, it's probably gained much. I mean, it's more popular than any other cold case that I know about. Not that I know much about cold cases, but okay. So back to The Dentist. Now he wasn't the type of dentist that would put somebody out and then rape them or something like that necessarily. So this guy's name, the guy that inspired the movie The Dentist, his name was Glennon Edward Engelman. And the guy was a pretty sketchy character. He was often referred to as a psychopath. And so the guy was actually, I guess you can kind of call him a bit of a hitman. Although one of the things that he did was say he would one of the first killings that he did was with his ex-wife. His ex-wife had married a new fella, and after she married him, she got him to sign up for life insurance and made sure that life insurance was worth enough money, right? And then they would kill him and collect the life insurance, and they would split it. I don't know how they would split it, but they would split it. And this guy was he was a bit of a nut job, and especially because of some of the stuff he said after, when he got arrested, when he was incarcerated. The dude said that he enjoyed the whole process of setting up the murdering the person, and then disposing of the body afterwards. He said, it made him feel free, made him complacent. You know what I mean? I don't think that's the word that he used, but yeah, it's kind of a weird thing because for me, I remember seeing this movie, I don't think it was when it came out. I think I saw it a little bit after the fact, but for me, I've always been super freaking paranoid about dentists, not a fan. Don't get me wrong. Dentistry is one of those things, is, a service to humanity, you only love a dentist sometimes when you need them, right? Some people are really good about going to the dentist, getting their checkups and stuff. I am not one of those people. I fear the dentist and the pain involved, don't get me wrong. I got a bunch of tattoos all over my body and stuff. And I could deal with some pain. I've even gotten 2 tattoos at once, actually, believe it or not. When I usually describe it to people, I just tell them that I was getting drilled on by 2 dudes at once. You know what I mean?
Nice.
Yeah, no, always.
Yeah,
take him by the horn, really rub it in.
Yeah, well, that's how I usually start that conversation.
I can deal with some pain.
but dentist pain like that, like there's something about like not being in control. Like you're sitting in that chair and these freaking people have their hands in your mouth and stuff. And I don't know, man, it's just not one of those things that I've ever been able to deal with all that well, So I remember this movie like really like, I don't know, not affecting me necessarily, but like, I don't know. I remember being very intrigued by it because I don't know. I've always been worried about like, excess pain at the dentist office, man. Like I remember when I was younger hearing about like, a dentist would put somebody out and then, fondle them. I never got that opportunity. I mean, that never happened to me, but, I hoped it would. I mean, I hoped it would. Yeah, sure. Fuck it. Why not? Cause more attention is better. I'm an attention whore. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, but they would have to skip.
I would have appreciated it, but
they would have to skip the anesthetic or the whatever they use because then you wouldn't remember it, right? What's the point?
That is true. That is true. Although, like, in my fantasies, I'm sorry. I ain't got no fantasies about this. Like, if it were to happen to me, I would want to wake, awake during the process, because I think that would be a special experience. You know what I mean?
Oh, this show is taking a left turn.
I don't know, dude. Right? I'm just rambling at this point now. But so this guy was like he was in the Army. He was an Army veteran. His dentist office was set up in St. Louis. And the guy did a couple contract kills for people. Like he was a bad freaking dude, and he was mostly it seems like he was out for monetary gain. You know what I mean? And but like he had a couple different ways of killing people, like shooting, obviously, bludgeoning. A sledgehammer was one of the tools that he famously used. Well, as famous as his case is, whatever. But that's pretty brutal, dude. Like a sledgehammer, like if that's one of your preferred, weapons of choice, like
not very subtle.
Not subtle, right? Yeah.
I saw Dexter. That leaves a mess.
Oh, Dexter's a good show, dude. It kind of fell apart at certain points, but holy shit, that season with the ABC killer, played by John Lithgow.
Oh, John Lithgow's amazing. Yeah,
pretty damn solid, man. Like pretty damn solid. And I kind of found like I don't know the name of the actor that played Dexter, but I think he did a damn good job for whatever reason. I couldn't tell you. I don't know much about it, but I think that like he was definitely the right actor for the role because the guy seems off. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know if he has that face or just the way his mannerisms. I don't know what it is, but like the dude seemed like the perfect guy for the role. I think he did pretty damn good.
He's not acting, dude. That's how he really is.
Yeah. I think it was one of the first or second season, I think, where there's this detective that he works with, and like he's on to him, he's like this buff black guy, and has
Sergeant Dokes
head.
Or something.
Dokes, there you go, yeah. Like the most memeable scene or like couple seconds I've ever seen in almost any show ever was when he finds his little kill shack there in the bayou or whatever, and he's like, "Surprise, motherfucker!" or I forget if that's like what scene that happens. I forget what scene that happens in, to be honest, but surprise, motherfucker! I can't tell you how many memes I've seen that in.
Some fries, motherfucker! Surprise, motherfucker!
So, yeah, some fries, motherfucker! Cheap ties, motherfucker!
Yeah, actually, kind of bummed me out when spoiler alert if you haven't seen this show already, when Dexter killed that guy and he was no longer on the show, because I thought that guy was a lot of fun on the show, and it just didn't seem the same without him on there. But
but
I guess you can't really keep that going.
How long can you draw that out, though?
Yeah, because he knows.
Yeah, exactly.
He knows. I thought that show was really good for the first two seasons and whichever one John Lithgow was on. But after the first two, it just kind of, I don't know, it was like the same thing over and over again. And I don't remember what season it was.
There was a lot of rinse and repeat.
Yeah. There was a season where he had like a baby and the whole season was about like him trying to find a babysitter and stuff. Like I was like, dude, that's just not interesting. I don't care who's watching your baby. That's not what this show's about. That's when they completely lost me on that show.
And it started to lose me. Like I agree with you, because like the whole family thing and like it just didn't fit. You know, that whole scenario didn't fit with who Dexter is. You know, like all of a sudden this guy has emotions and stuff now. Well, shit. You know,
right?
But I do appreciate how they ended that relationship with the ABC killer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
You remember how that ended, where like he basically like made her like slit her femoral artery in the bathtub.
Right, but no, I mean after that, when not that season, but I think it was the season after that, when like Dexter, he was a single parent basically. And a lot of the season, a lot of the season revolved around how he was going to get somebody to watch his kid when he was at work, basically. And it was just like, it just felt like such a pain in the ass to watch. I'm like, dude, this is like so tedious. I just can't stand it. So I quit watching at that point.
Yeah, this is not what I signed up for.
Yeah.
Okay, so let me see. What else do I have to talk about here? There's one other movie.
But wait,
I want to mention, and this one actually isn't.
I was going to say, do you want, let's let Agent Kruger go, and then I'll go, and then do you want to finish up with your last one?
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
Kind of mix it up a little bit. All right. Yeah. What do you got for us, Agent Kruger?
I've been blabbing for long enough anyways.
Well, just like my name, I'm looking at Nightmare on Elm Street. I thought it was befitting.
You had to.
Had to. It's my father. Yeah, so believe it or not, Wes Craven, he took a lot of inspiration through his past and childhood to apply it with this movie, and also a story that he found in 1970 about a case of sudden I always forget the damn, it's like sudden unintentional death,
infant death syndrome or some shit,
like sudden unintentional death or narcoleptic death like syndrome. So like you die in your sleep.
Spontaneous combustion.
Spontaneous fart combustion. Yes. How did you figure it out? But it's like sudden unexplained nocturnal death syndrome, which is SUNDS. So SUNDS.
Okay.
And it's a condition when it's characterized by, having cardiac arrest while you just die in your sleep. That, I mean, as all deaths go, that's kind of not the worst way to go. You know what I mean? Just kind of in your sleep. And you just drift off.
I think that's kind of how, like when I go, I hope it's something like that. Like, I don't want to see my death coming,
Yeah. No one does.
I also don't want to feel it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'd be horrible. Yeah. As far as, so I mean, going back to it, let's start with the character and what Kruger is based off of. And Kruger, believe it or not, is based off the bully of Wes Craven in his childhood, who was named Fred Krueger. And, go figure. I would hate to be the guy who was written into all these stories as the evil asshole. You know what I mean? And it's his bully. It's one of his childhood bullies, which I thought that was pretty interesting.
I don't know. I think that'd be pretty cool, actually. Like, not that I was definitely not a bully. I was the nerdy kid getting bullied. But if I was the bully, I'd be like, fuck yeah, this guy remembered me, man. I totally fucked with this guy. Look, I fucked with him so much, he made a movie about me. That's awesome.
I don't regret beating him up at all.
Yeah.
There's some positives there, right? But
it's called bully
bullying.
confirmation.
Oh God. Yeah, you got that. Well, actually, to double back on the SUNDS thing, there was the CDC reported around 1986 to 1988, around 10 deaths that were caused by SUNDS. It's unexplained, but all of them really ultimately had a heart attack in their sleep. All had enlarged hearts. And it wasn't until the case that Wes Craven read about in the LA Times back in the day about a younger Chinese man or a Cambodian man. Oh God, edit that out. Actually, Cambodian. But he read about a Cambodian family that fled the death fields, the killing fields in Cambodia when shit was just hitting the wall. And when they were trying to sleep one night, when they were in the US, their son had this unexpected dream where he was being chased through the woods or wherever the hell he was just being chased. And he felt that if he was caught by whatever was chasing him, it would end his life. And so he was so freaked out. And I don't know if you guys have ever had a dream where you were so scared when you woke up, you didn't want to go back to sleep. Apparently, he stretched out days at a time trying not to sleep because he was that freaked out about this dream. But when they thought that he settled this issue and that, you know, they didn't have to worry about it, and then they all went to sleep a normal night, like every other night, he ended up screaming his fucking head off, waking up in the middle of the night, going crazy. And by the time they got to his room and to his bed, he was dead. And all they know is that whatever it was, his last moments was fear. So maybe it wasn't the peaceful way to go, because it's in your sleep, right? But what if your body's like, hey, it's shitty? What if your body is trying to tell you something's wrong with you? Like, because a lot of them had enlarged hearts, like I mentioned. Like, what if in some way where these dreams are correlated with their body trying to dream and warn them?
Thanks, Agent Kruger. Now I'm going to have nightmares tonight.
Right?
I'm going to die of a heart attack in my sleep, and it's going to be all your fault.
Sorry, my bad. Just make sure you left me something, you know, sizable in your wills. Maybe it won't happen, but, you know, I don't know. Another thing, well, going back to Kruger, what makes also just, you know, the villain Kruger so unique, rather just being, you know, somebody who's based off of Bully, which I guess isn't super unique, that a lot of Wes Craven wanted this villain to be a vocal villain. Out of all the popular pulp culture, you know, villains, Myers, you know, Voorhees, and, you know, I'm missing someone. I can't believe it. And, you know, just the typical, you know, legends of horror. You know, Texas Leatherface. That's what I was saying. They all were covered. They're all this masked, brooding, you know, villain that doesn't speak but only kill and thrash out. But Freddy gets to talk to you, toy with you, you know, and entice you in ways that would encourage you to do something stupid in your dream. You know, it's just one of the villains that was more vocal, and makes him super unique amongst the bunch. When it came to his claw glove, if I'm not mistaken, that when I was reading about it, he wanted something that everybody could relate to. If you were from the like 1600s, like from way back in the Dark Ages, and I guess that was to have a handful of swords, or just like in I forget. Oh damn, I'm dropping the ball here. But he wanted to compare it to, you know, like a tiger, or like Wolverine. Yeah, that's exactly what he was doing. Yeah. The best quote though from it was that the hat was just purely, you know, fashionable just because it looks good. Like there's nothing special to his hat, but to Kruger's hat. But I don't know. The character is more interesting than you'd think. You know, I didn't give it the best background story, even when in the movie, in the plot, he's chasing 4 teenagers down and, you know, haunting their dreams and trying to kill them through that way. But how he got there, Kruger's backstory to even how he got there and how he was raised, the backstory is apparently his mother was raped in a psychological, you know, psych ward by like 100 different people, like, or 30, like it was some outrageous number that would break any individual, make them bitter towards other people. So that was apparently the case of why he hated youth, was because youth, you know, ruined his world just a bit. And then I don't know. I don't have really that much. And I also thought it was interesting. Elm Street, you can basically find an Elm Street anywhere, which I thought that was interesting. That
yeah, they're all over.
You can
the place.
find them just about anywhere. And not only that, the street that Kennedy turned on, or before he took that last turn and was shot, you know, in front of the book depository, was there was an Elm Street right next door. So yeah, I guess, yeah, there was I heard somewhere where he was trying to depict that it's where innocence like meets its end or whatnot. When it comes to the end of Elm Street, it's where innocence was there. And
I like the theory from there's a comedy show from the BBC, which again, why would you name a network that? But anyways, called Red Dwarf. It's kind of an older show, but they did this episode where they explained the assassination of Kennedy. So in the show, it's like a sci-fi show. They time travel back to the past, and they save Kennedy from being assassinated, and it completely ruins the future. Like it triggers this series of events that makes everything like far worse than it was. So Kennedy, who's now alive, actually goes back in time and assassinates himself because it's the right thing to do. What a twist!
That shit cray.
Yeah, it was.
So, I mean, are we done talking about Freddy Krueger there? Or?
No, yeah.
Hey, if you got more to say, brother,
why
say
not? I mean, Wes Craven. I think. Don't think I know. He also mentioned a story when he was a child when an old man was walking by his window on his like patio. I guess. I don't know if he lived next to a busy street or what, where old people or just random people, individuals that just stroll by his window. But he had a moment in his childhood when he was just in his house and he saw an old man with a cane walking by, and he was just, not making a noise, just watching this old man walk by until the old man stopped and then like glared right at Craven. And I guess it really chilled him to the bone when he was a kid. And he wanted to use, that was one of the, going psychological lines for his, plot was, an old man or somebody like that stature preying on a young kid. Why would he want to scare him as a kid? And there's more to it, but it was, it's interesting to say the least. I mean, I don't know. Wes Craven, rest in peace and everything. But that dude came in he had the most strict upbringing, and then how his movies interpret his imagination are so completely different. It's awesome.
Well, maybe the strict upbringing was the reason why he had the imagination that he did.
I didn't know that he'd passed away.
Oh yeah, for a moment I thought Robert Englund or whatnot. I always mess his name up. The actor who plays Freddy Krueger, I thought he died, and then come to find out it was the opposite way. So shows my horror. My last name's Krueger, and yet I'm not. I'm not in tune with that. The Godfather died. No,
it's a slasher movie, but like you're saying, most slasher films, they like, for example, Alien, right? Alien is basically a slasher film in space. Silent killer. They're all silent killers, right? So it's the only one I can think of off the top of my head where the killer is actually talks to the victims, like taunts them and stuff.
Yeah, right. And then and not just that, his face is revealed. It's is a burning mess, like somebody took a blue flame to the face.
Sorry to derail, but I'm going to derail again. Hey, I got to take a PS real bad. Right. I'll be right back, all right?
All right.
I'm so sorry.
While he's gone, I'll say that there's some really great just quotes from him as a villain, right? That you don't get from the other slashers because they don't talk. Other slashers don't talk. It's the only slasher that talks that I can think of, anyways. So you guess I can't really do a good Freddy Krueger. Can you do a good Freddy Krueger?
Oh God, no. I mean, you can't. I don't know if anyone really could. It belongs to Robert,
Mm-hmm. You remember the back in the day when your parents would let you watch anything, like they just didn't care. It's not like that anymore.
Yeah. Or they just didn't know.
Yeah, or they didn't know
that too. Yeah,
they had no idea the type of garbage that was on HBO at 2 a.m. when they're trying to fill space.
Oh, HBO or Cinemax.
You have more for us on Friday the 13th. No, Nightmare on Elm Street.
Nothing. Besides prominently that the sons that sudden, oh my God, sudden unexpected narcoleptic death syndrome. When that was actually predominantly in Asian, families that I mentioned before. I did say that. Enlarged hearts. No, I think I'm good. And then Wes Craven, how he kind of made the character a little bit, based off of his, childhood. Fred. Also, he wasn't when he did his first Wes Craven's first movie. He even used It was it was Krug. Something, oh damn, it was something Krug with the first villain in the last house on the left. I don't know if you guys remember that movie.
Mm-mm.
Yeah, because it's about, two girls, being tortured, captured and tortured, by escaped convicts. And one of them was his last name, or just he went by Krug, I forget. But it was definitely the same intention with making him evil, because he was the bully from his childhood. And he also used that with Freddy Krueger and such. So,
is it weird that every time I hear the word bully, I think of Theodore Roosevelt?
What are you thinking about Teddy for?
Bully for you, motherfucker.
Oh, because he yeah, exactly. Bully.
Bully.
Whatever.
Let's move on to The Exorcist. That's the movie I chose to talk about the true story behind. And I didn't actually know this. I just kind of Googled horror movies based on true stories or whatever. And it turns out The Exorcist is actually based upon a real exorcism story. This happened way back in 1949 in Cottage City, Maryland, near Mount Rainier. Most accounts will say that it happened in Mount Rainier, but it didn't. It actually was in Cottage City. And I won't go down that particular rabbit hole, because that could be pretty much an episode in and of itself as to how somebody discovered that the people who said that it was in Mount Rainier were actually lying about that. And they think that it was because they're trying to just kind of cover it up so that nobody could go find the boy in question. But so yeah,
trying to mislead.
Yeah, exactly. So in 1949, in January, a boy named Ronald Doe, well, that's his alias. Everybody refers to him as Ronald Doe because he was a child at the time, and nobody wants to really expose who he was, even though it is possible to find out his real name and stuff like that if you really want to dig deep, but it's not necessary for our purposes, so we won't do anything like that. But anyways, in January of 1949, Ronald Doe was taught to use the Ouija board by his aunt, and he used it a couple times with his aunt Tilly. On January 15th, the boy, his mother, and grandmother heard a dripping noise in the grandmother's bedroom. That went on for a little while, and then they noticed the picture of Jesus on the wall was shaking, and they started to hear scratching noises from under the floorboards. And at that point, why they didn't just leave the house and just move somewhere else, I don't know. But they didn't. They stayed in the house. So this kind of activity happened every night from 7 p.m. to midnight for about 10 days. It stopped, and nothing happened for 3 days. They got 3 days of peace and quiet. But after that, on the fourth night, the boy heard what he described as squeaking shoes on his bed. And this happened for 6 nights. I guess he just heard some squeaking sounds. On the 26th...
That's actually kind of pretty weird and also specific.
Yeah.
Because, squeaking shoes on your bed? What do you mean? You know what I mean? Like, somebody's walking on your bed? Like, that doesn't necessarily line up.
Yeah.
So...
Well,
I don't know. It's one of those statements to me that actually kind of, because of how unusual it is, it actually kind of adds a little bit of credibility to it, I think.
Yeah, and probably
because of how specific it is.
Yeah, probably what he meant was he's asleep at night or trying to sleep at night. The lights are out, and he's in bed, and he hears squeaking shoe sounds, and it probably didn't sound like somebody walking up to the bed. He just heard them around him. So he didn't know where they were coming from, so he might have just said they were coming from the bed. That's sort of how I interpreted that one. But, you could interpret that any number of ways. On the 26th of January, Aunt Tilly, that's the aunt that was showing him how to use the Ouija board, she died of multiple sclerosis at the age of 54. The boy's mother thought that it was connected to the strange activity in the house, which it was sort of surrounding the son, Roland, because it always happened when he was in the room. It never happened when he was gone. After the aunt died, the boy heard the scratching coming from the walls. This is a weird description. So he heard the scratching moving out of the walls and into his bed, and then his bed began to shake violently. And this is when shit starts to get real. So after this, there were various activities that everybody saw in the house, like the shaking of the bed and things moving around and stuff. So during one of these events, the mother said, "If your Aunt Tilly knock 3 times." When she said this, waves of air struck Roland, his mother, and grandmother, and they heard 3 knocks on the floor. She asked again, this time asking for 4 knocks, and whatever was knocking knocked again, but knocked 4 times. After the knocks ceased, scratches appeared on Roland's mattress, just sort of like a clawed hand scratched the mattress, but it was invisible, which is
like did it break the fabric or?
Yeah, like it tore the fabric and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't like it. I don't like this
No,
one.
sir. No,
one
sir.
bit.
Don't.
Yeah, that's called a fuck that moment. I'm setting fire to that. I'm moving out.
Yeah, exactly.
If I see that happen before my eyes, I'm getting the hell out of wherever I am and never coming back.
No, let's stay.
Just
It'll
know.
be fine. No, let's stay
Just-
one more night.
Just know.
Yeah,
Not
Yeah.
going to happen.
exactly. All right. Fast forward. So this weird stuff keeps happening. And on February 17th, a local Lutheran minister named Reverend Schultz had Roland stay overnight at his parsonage. So this fella they reported to him what was happening. They're like, "Hey, Reverend, could you please help us? We got a problem here with we don't know what." And the Reverend was like, "Yeah, right. You guys are all full of shit." So he had the boy stay over, and Schultz witnessed.
Boys.
Yeah. yeah. This, I was going to say, insert priest jokes here, right? Come here, little boy. Why don't you stay overnight at my place? You know, I'm just a priest.
And here's the thing, and I'll steal this joke from Dennis Leary. When I go to confession, I say you first.
Yeah, just Dennis Leary. He's a good comic. If you guys are not aware of who Dennis Leary is, go look him up on YouTube or something. He's a funny dude.
He's an asshole.
I'm an asshole. I drive really slow. Anyways, we don't want to get a copyright strike on that one.
And he may have also stolen that bit from C.S. Lewis.
Really?
Really?
Supposedly, yeah.
What? No way.
Supposedly. But yeah.
Don't you mean
Did you ever see that
supposedly?
show he was in, Rescue Me?
What's
Did you guys
that?
ever watch that? Did you ever watch that one movie or TV show he was in, Rescue Me?
I
firefighters?
saw. I think I saw like the first or second episode, but like I also quickly got distracted by something shiny.
But anyways, let's get back to the case here. Let's get back to the show.
Are we still recording?
Yeah.
Yes.
On February 17th, we were talking about the Lutheran minister, Reverend Schultz, had Roland stay overnight at his parsonage. You know, cue the priest jokes, right? So Schultz was skeptical at first, but when Roland stayed over, he witnessed the scratching sounds and the bed shaking that had been reported by the family. And he saw a couple of other weird things. For example, at one point, Roland was sitting in a heavy armchair, and the chair tipped itself over when he was in it. And I don't think, did I say how old Roland was? I think he was like 13 years old at the time. And 13, 14, you're not going to be your full size at that age, probably. So he's like a little boy. Well, not like a little boy, but he's, growing into manhood, but he's not a huge dude. So he's not going to shift and tip over a heavy armchair. So it's kind of weird, right? But that's at the point where they started to get a little bit of attention and believability from like some clergy, various clergy of different faiths. They had during, I don't know if I have the exact dates, but throughout the whole ordeal, they had a couple of different faiths. I think Lutheran, Catholicism, and one other faith. That all did exorcisms on the boys. On February 26th, scratches appeared on the boy for 4 consecutive nights. So like sort of like what happened to his bed, some sort of invisible something or other scratched him, and he's bleeding and stuff. And from the descriptions, it doesn't seem like it was like super severe, more like a cat scratch, but it's happened out of nowhere. So that was another, I mean, come on, dude, what are you guys doing? Get the hell out of that house. Go to Cancun for a vacation or something. I don't know. All right. Now, after this event, after the scratches, they consulted Father Albert Hughes, who prescribed holy water, holy candles, and special prayers. During one time when the mother, we're calling her Mrs. Doe, she lit some candles and a comb flew across the room and put them all out. There were other objects that flew as well, such as fruit, pictures off of the walls, food from the tables, and the table itself actually flipped over. A Bible flew from a shelf and landed by Roland's feet. And then one incident it was around the same time, but it was not like flying stuff. But Roland was sitting in a rocking chair, and while he was sitting in the chair, it started to spin around all by itself. And at the same time, this is one of those funny details of the case that just sort of, this case it's sort of really terrifying, but this one detail I found kind of funny. He got kicked out of school because his desk kept moving around by itself. Like it would shake and move and jump around and stuff. And the teacher would say, "Hey, cut it out." And then Roland would say, "I'm not doing it, dude. I can't stop. I'm not doing nothing." So they kicked him out of school because he was possessed. He's got his hands above his head. "Look, I'm not doing it. It's not me." Another incident with one of the blessed candles that was suggested by the priest, the mom was sitting next to the bed at night when Roland was trying to sleep. She was sitting next to the bed holding a candle. And when she was doing this, the bed, herself, and Roland all started to move back and forth in unison. And that's just, I don't know what to make of that one, man. That one's weird. After this particular incident, for whatever reason, all the other stuff didn't freak them out. But this one, finally, his mom's like, "All right, I've had enough with the moving back and forth in unison. The claws are okay. The tapping's okay. But I cannot abide moving in unison. So we're going to go stay with some relatives in Missouri." So they took off to Missouri, where relatives there also witnessed his skin being branded by some invisible hand, like the scratches and marks and things. On March 9th, they enlisted the help of Father Raymond J. Bishop. He also saw some of the strange stuff, like the objects flying around and the bed moving and that kind of stuff. He reported back, and on March 11th, a different priest named Father Bodern. This is from, they're getting Catholic priests to come in now, because if anybody's serious about an exorcism, it's the Catholic priests. At least that's the word on the street. March 11th, Father Bodern came over, and at 11 p.m., he read the Novena Prayer of St. Francis Xavier. I don't really know what that is, but that's what it said. And he blessed the boy with a holy relic, which is a piece of the bone from St. Xavier's forearm, which is, okay, it seems a little weird to me, but I'm not Catholic, so maybe that's just something they do. They just bless people with bones, I guess. Okay, whatever. He also put a crucifix under the boy's pillow. And I don't know if that was, like, the demons were not under the pillow, so I don't know if that was, like, for the tooth fairy or something, but, they put it under there. As soon as Father Bodern left, and the family heard, well, not as soon as, but he left, and then shortly after that, the family heard a loud noise in Roland's room. They run in there, and they find a bench turned over, a heavy bookcase has been moved, and the crucifix had been moved from under the pillow to the edge of the bed. And at this time, Roland's bed was shaking violently, as it tends to do, I guess. One of the family members in the room yelled, "Aunt Tilly, stop it!" And the bed stopped shaking. This is kind of weird, because if it's, if they say, "Hey, Aunt Tilly, could you knock for us, or could you stop shaking the bed?" If it's really the aunt that's haunting him, then I don't know, like, it wouldn't be a demon, but he started to get haunted before the aunt actually died, so it's a strange thing. But the mom went back and forth between thinking that it was the aunt that was haunting him, or it was some kind of demon or something. So there's a little bit of, question as to what was actually going on. But since she died after it started, my money is on it was not the aunt.
I actually kind of think that it might have been the aunt herself, like, stopping it.
Oh, yeah. I didn't think of it that way.
They also say,
yeah, go ahead.
Like, people on their way out, they'll see, either a loved one greeting them, or, helping them, shepherd them to the next stage of their life, to the afterlife. What if it, in that veil or that brief moment, you could also bring in some dickhead ghost that comes in and just fucks everything up.
Well, maybe that dickhead ghost just has the opportunity to come in at that point. You know,
Yeah,
maybe
because
there's a doorway
that's
open or
the
something.
person coming in to greet them into their next afterlife or whatever the hell they're going to be doing. And so I don't believe this is just something. Well, I mean, I had a family member, and I'm sure you guys might know. It might have been an Anderson. You might want to edit that out. Well, anyway, just gonna roll with it. Somebody close to us in our family, when they passed away, on their way out, was stating, they were like, "Hey, I know everybody in the room, but I don't know who that is." And she gestured to a chair, or to a blank side of the hospital room, and she's like, "But I don't know who that is." And everybody in the room kind of looked at each other and were kind of puzzled as to what the hell she's talking about. But from what I've been told from that day, they're all convinced that it was somebody coming back over, whether it be her husband or whoever it was coming to help her get to the next side and not to be scared. And then she passed shortly after that.
So on March 16th, Archbishop Ritter gave Father Bodern permission to begin the formal rite of exorcism, and that night he began the rituals, along with Father Bishop and a Jesuit scholar named Walter Halloran. They performed the rituals of exorcism 20 to 30 times over the next couple of months, and while it was performed, Roland would usually rage or throw fits or tantrums, vomit and urinate all over the place. And since they're mentioning it, I'm guessing it was more like the movie vomit, where he's just like, all over the place, not just like a little bit like, oh, I just spit up on my shirt kind of a thing. And like if he's urinating, I'm guessing that flow was going for 10 minutes or something, to where it's not like, oh, look, he peed his pants. Like, man, he is letting loose. This is not natural, And he would curse and say, blasphemous things. And he would also utter phrases in Latin, which is sort of strange because a 13-year-old boy probably shouldn't know Latin, I'm guessing.
Typically, yeah.
Little boy from Maryland, probably doesn't know Latin. I don't know. Who knows? Maybe that's what they teach over there.
That shit creeps me out. I cannot stand it. That it's cool. I like the language, but it's when it's used in that manner, oh my God, I get the heebie-jeebies. Heebie-jeebies.
At one point in this process, Roland was inducted to the Catholic faith and received his first communion. I don't know what that is, but I guess it's part of becoming Catholic, I'm guessing. I don't know. But after that, he got a 6-inch portrait of the devil, the devil had his hands raised and spider webs coming from his hands, and that was etched deeply into his calf. So sort of like the invisible scratches, it just appeared like carved into his skin, that's pretty crazy, man. I don't like that bit one bit either. This whole thing, I don't like any of this stuff, actually.
Let's burn it.
This whole case, let's just forget about it, man. This one sucks. But so another incident, I don't know when this happened, but I thought I'd throw it in there because it was kind of funny, add a little levity. When they were riding on a train from one town to another, I suppose, Roland punched Father Bodern in the balls, and he said, "That's a nutcracker for you, isn't it?" It's like,
yes.
It's like, he's not possessed by a demon. He's just a little shit,
He's a dick.
He's just possessed by a good freaking sense of humor.
Yeah. Fuck that kid. That kid's an asshole. But yeah, so on April 18th, these exorcisms have been going on for a while, and during an exorcism ritual, Father Bodern asked who was possessing the child and how long they planned to stay. And I'm guessing also they were interrogating the demon or whatever it was, saying, "Hey, you think you're going to start paying rent, man? You've been in this kid for a while now." But anyways, Roland threw a tantrum and said he was a fallen angel. At 11,
you got to pay for a privilege like that.
Yeah,
Sorry,
you can't just live in there. You got to pay for that, man. At 11 p.m., Roland interrupted the ritual and spoke in a masculine voice, saying, "Satan, I am Saint Michael. I command you and the other evil spirits to leave this body in the name of Dominus immediately. Now, now, now." Said now 3 times, apparently. And yeah, he said that in a voice that was not his own. It sounded like an adult's voice. And at that point, Roland stopped throwing a fit and making all these violent motions. He paused, and then he said, "He is gone." And when the voice was coming out of his mouth, that adult-sounding voice, Roland said that he had a vision of Saint Michael holding a flaming sword. And that's pretty much this. That's a very, very abridged version because we wouldn't I had to cut some stuff out. We just wouldn't have time to go over everything in one episode. But it's a really friggin' creepy story, and that's what the Exorcist is supposedly based on. And I'm hoping it's not true. I'm gonna put my skeptical hat on for this one because that is super creepy, and I don't want to be dealing with any of that stuff. So I'm just gonna say it's all made up. It's so.
Well, was it that exorcism where one of the I thought well, maybe it was exaggerated, but I thought one was pushed out a window. Was that?
Yeah, that happened in the movie, right? I think he fell down some stairs or something.
Oh, okay. I must have been.
Yeah, I mean, that might have happened to one of the priests involved, but there were other priests involved too that I didn't mention because they had a very minor role. But I didn't see.
One was bit, one was shoved out, and when I swear,
yeah,
I think one was actually.
There was one, yeah. So the priest Hughes, what was his last name was Hughes. He was supposedly saw Roland in the hospital, and while he was doing something, maybe some sort of prayer or something, Roland ripped out a bed spring from the mattress and cut him on the arm with it. Was one of the incidents,
okay.
But that's what I mean. There's a lot of stuff like that I kind of didn't mention because I was trying to keep it, a little on the shorter side. But yeah, there was, I didn't see any mention of the priests dying like that in the true story that the movie's based on, but there were several of them, and it wouldn't surprise me if one of them did die after this. But there were several of them, and a couple of them were fairly old, so it could be anything. In the movie, I think there was just one main priest, right? And they sort of condensed all the priests involved in the real story into just kind of one guy. And one of the main ones actually had a diary that he kept of the exorcism attempts, which I also won't go into because it just goes a little too much into detail. But
yeah, well, we could do a whole episode on that.
Yeah, there's a lot of interesting stuff to this case, but there's also there is some debunking that has happened that kind of makes it look like maybe there was nothing weird going on here. It was just a kid being a little shit, playing a prank on somebody, but I don't know what to make of this one.
You just got to look at other exorcisms that the church, I don't want to say declassified, but also said that they, helped. I forget though. Exhumed, is that what is it when all is said and done? The kid's clear, he's fine. Whatever. But
Cleansed?
Anyway, it's just how many cases, or cleansed or something like that. How many kids that they help.
This house is clear.
Yeah.
This house is clear.
For this case, I mean, I could see it both ways, and there's evidence in both directions. People witnessed all this weird stuff happening, and I don't see how a 13-year-old could pull off all these pranks for such a long period of time. On the other hand, I'm going to be skeptical on this one because it's creepy as fuck, and I don't want to believe that it's true. So I'm just going to go skeptic on this one.
Yeah, I hear you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I definitely don't think that she did her head spun in a 360 circle walls. Also,
definitely not. No.
Projectile vomiting.
No, well, the vomiting happened, but
I think I like to believe the Scary Movie too reference to the exorcism.
Well, hey, don't get me wrong. I'm a big fan of projectile vomiting. I mean, I think it takes a bit of a skill to do it right.
Yeah.
But when it comes to a scenario where you have an exorcism involved as well, that goes too far. A little bit too far for my likings. You know?
Well,
that projectile vomiting takes on a whole new meaning.
Yeah, and the witnesses did see that stuff, but some of the movie stuff was embellished. For example, they changed the boy to a girl in the movie for whatever reason, and the head spinning was made up for the movie. That didn't actually, nobody reported that in this case. So the stuff in the movie with Like I think she floats above the bed at some point, like hovering in the air like that. I didn't see any reports of that, but some of it, it's a weird case.
Some of the dirty language that she uses,
stuff like that
while talking to the priest,
Yeah.
It's
like
That was the first movie that I watched by myself. Like the actual, like in my head when I was a kid, that was like the top movie that would shit my pants. I didn't want to watch it alone one day as in an act of spontaneity. Like I just accidentally started watching it on cable. Like I was like, oh, this movie is good. And then it just got it like where I was like, oh shit, no, this is The Exorcist. Well, it's like I'm in it now. Might as well just keep it going. And it's like even to the subtle like eye, there's things that you don't, or to the untrained eye, you're not looking for, that there's imagery and subtleness, like I don't want to say subliminal, but it's damn near it. Like when, the light flickers on and off and then there's a face quickly there next to her, you know what I mean? And it's very like quick. Now you look at it, it's quite cheesy, to a certain extent, but it still has that grip on you with the music, the ambiance, and just like when you're by yourself as a 14-year-old in your house at nighttime watching this movie alone, like I was at my wits, like that was the scariest it got for me. So
it was a really well-made movie. It got 10 Academy Award nominations and it won 2 Academy Awards. I don't remember what for, but I mean, it was a well done movie, and I think it holds up as being like a super creepy movie if you're willing to accept that the special effects and everything are not going to be up to modern standards. So if you're willing to put that aside and just watch the movie for what it is, it's a really well made, creepy as fuck movie that, nobody should watch because it's one of those movies, like there's not that many horror movies I've seen that are actually like scary. Usually it's like, Friday the 13th or something like that, where they're fun movies, but they're not like scary. But this one is creepy, dude. This is one of the few movies that just actually creep me right out.
Yeah. Same. Honestly,
but all right. So I think Agent ETA had one more movie for us before we finish up. What do you got for us, ETA?
I mean, kinda.
All right.
One more movie, I suppose. It's not a horror film. It just like was one of those ones where like I don't know. I thought of it real quick when we were coming up with this idea for this episode. So the movie's name is Monster, and I'm sure a lot of people have probably seen this movie, but it's about this character. Her name was Eileen Wuornos. Goddamn, I don't know how to pronounce her last name. Wuornos, whatever. But her character was played by Charlize Theron in this movie. And I gotta say, as far as performances go, I mean, she did a pretty damn good job. I mean, if anybody like knows who Charlize Theron is, a beautiful woman. Beautiful. Like, I don't know how else you could pronounce, how you could describe her, a beautiful woman, good Lord. But what she did to herself in order to fulfill the role of this movie is pretty respectful. Now, I heard it described by her in an interview that she gained over 15 pounds to do this role. Now, to someone like me, like 15 pounds, all right, cool story, dude.
That's like taking a dump in the morning.
That just sounds like we got past winter.
I fluctuate within 15 pounds every other day. You know what I mean? Like, all right, that's that. All right. Well, I mean, I guess it must have been such a hardship, but for somebody as small as she is, actually it is, but like, she put on a bunch of weight to do this role. They put on a bunch of prosthetics onto her, teeth mainly. But like, so if you know what this woman looks like, Eileen Carol Wuornos, whatever. Shut up, dude. She is a homely looking individual, and like for Charlize Theron to mirror that image is actually pretty impressive, Anyways, I think she did a damn good job. So this woman she was an American serial killer. Okay. Now, it wasn't like she had a long reign. It was only about a year between 1989 and 1990. But the reason why she was made so famous, obviously, is because of this movie, right? But so she was a person that had, a rough upbringing. Her original parents had both. I forget what age it was. I should have wrote this down in my notes. Anyways, early on, she had been left by her mom and her dad, and both her and her brother had to be raised by her grandparents. She had some bad experiences when she was a kid, being abused and stuff like that. I won't go too far into it. It is a very interesting case because most serial killers, the vast majority that you're going to see are going to be male, right? The reason why people find an interest with her is because she's a female, obviously. When she was younger, she got into prostitution, and basically just like she got into it as a way to find, money, just to find her own way, because she had basically been like left on her own, like to find her own way, and she had been abused, and at some point it seems like she decided to fight back and just plain kill, because I don't know, maybe she had been, abused enough to that point to where that was the only response that she felt was necessary. That's possible. I don't know, but
if I'm not mistaken, it was like a breaking point with when it came to a customer, right? Or it was like any normal day, but sometimes it's just that one thing that pushes you over the edge, and it could be very subtle or it could be very abrupt. But she was, like you said, she was a prostitute, and if I'm not mistaken, she was in the middle of servicing a client, and then something clicked, and she just, was tired of getting,
that was
abused and slapped around.
That was more portrayed in the movie, for
was
sure.
It? That was one of the scenes in the movie. I have only heard of the kudos that she's received due to the fact this was like her, Charlize Theron's, like, I don't want to say breakout role, but like her ability to come out and say that I'm willing to adapt to the role. You know what I mean? Like you would see Christian Bale with Mechanic and Batman a few months apart, but yet he goes from a scrawny skeleton to, Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Well, that was more than a few months apart, but I mean, Christian Bale, when he was a mechanic, when he was in that movie Mechanic, I mean, he was, a Skeletor, like, good Lord, the amount of weight that he lost, and as a matter of fact, also from what I understand, he still has like physical ramifications that came from those transformations that he made.
Oh yeah,
like because of the extremes that he accomplished, it took a toll on his body.
Oh yeah, I don't think anybody would.
With Charlize Theron, though, this is nowhere near those lengths, of a dedication. Like this is not to that extent, But I gotta say, like, good Lord, did she get down the mannerisms and like the culture that this woman was from? She did a damn good job. I remember when this movie came out, and I remember like kind of ignoring it for a little bit. Like, I don't know. I was like, all right, whatever. Like, it's I don't know. At first I thought it was like kind of like, all right, well, this is a girl power movie, where like, you have a strong female character that is
runaway lesbians
being presented like, I don't know. But then when I watched it, I was like, damn, this is a good story. And not only is it a good story, it is, the actors involved they did a damn good job. Like I can't say that I have nothing bad to say about this movie except for a little bit of the accuracy. Like some of the, but that's often, that's a common trait in many movies based on real scenarios or real life situations, you know. Of course, like it's probably not going to be super accurate because it's a movie. Why would it be, right? But anyways, both Charlize Theron and then who's her girlfriend? I'm sorry, I just punched the fuck out of my microphone right now.
Christina Ricci.
No, in the movie, Christina Ricci. There you go. Yeah, her girlfriend in the movie, Christina Ricci. I think she did a pretty decent job also, but it's not. I mean, mostly I think that she probably did a good job because I've always had the hots for Christina Ricci. I think she's beautiful. But anyways, I'm sorry. Ever since
pretty.
No. When I was younger, I remember that movie Casper the Ghost. You remember that?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, like for whatever reason, like in Addams Family, right? She was in that movie too. You know?
Yeah. She played Wednesday.
Yeah,
Wednesday, right?
It was Wednesday. Of course, she was Wednesday. Like, you know, I mean, that was like you know, she. I don't know how old she is, but I think she's right around my same age, and it's not creepy at all for me to be attracted to her during that time period because I was around the same age. I was under 18, I think, and so was she, I think, but whatever, dude. I mean, fuck you, you know? Like, if you think I'm being a creep, whatever, dude. I think that she's hot.
Fuck you. Yeah, dude.
No, I think she's hot, you know? But anyways, like,
hot.
I also kind of am attracted to some of those, like, you know, dark-haired, like, you know, dark-minded, you know, and you know, females that are into stuff. I don't know, like...
You like goth chicks, dude. Goth pinup girls.
No, like goth girls. I mean,
goth rockabilly.
Either way, they need to whip me, though. You know. Otherwise,
I didn't know this was that kind of show.
What happened?
It is now. No, it is now.
Too many crystal skulls.
I'm just saying, there's fantasies. Anyways, fucking, you know, a man has to have his imagination.
Yes, sir.
You know? How dare you try to, you know,
no, sir,
take that away from me? I don't appreciate that.
I would never take that away.
Don't you kink shame Agent ETA?
I ain't kink shaming nothing.
Well, because here's the thing. I have so many kinks that, like, you know, whatever you want to shame me on, you probably could if you wanted to, you know?
Is that all you had to say about Monster?
I suppose. Yeah.
Who's the real monster here?
Yeah, we're about an hour 35, hour 40 right now. So I guess it's about time. So I guess that's about it for this week. Thanks for listening. You can follow the show on Twitter at AlienConPod. We also have an email address, alienconpod@protonmail.com. We would love to hear from you. And don't forget to suggest the show to your friends and or social media areas, places, I don't know, whatever. All right, and since Agent Ether's not here, I guess I will do the sign off. Keep it strange.